A truck stops in the middle of the bridge. No warning. No explosion. No visible enemy. Just a sudden halt. Behind it, engines idle. Men look at each other, confused. One soldier leans out, expecting to see a stalled vehicle or a simple delay. Instead, he hears a single crack of rifle fire. Then another. Within seconds, the bridge is no longer a road. It becomes a trap. April 1945, Central Germany. A narrow steel bridge crossing the Elbe River near the town of Tangermont. The war in Europe is collapsing. Allied forces are pushing from the west. Soviet armies are advancing from the east. Between them lies a shrinking corridor of roads, rivers, and critical crossings. This bridge is one of them. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Steel trusses, wooden planks, just wide enough for two vehicles. But in this moment, it becomes one of the most dangerous places in Europe. Because everyone needs it, and no one fully controls it. Private First Class Daniel Weber is riding in the second truck in a small American convoy. His unit is part of a reconnaissance element attached to the Ninth Army. Their job is simple in theory. Move fast. Identify crossings. Secure them if possible. Speed matters. Timing matters more. If they can cross before the Germans destroy the bridge, they can open a path deeper into central Germany. If they are too late, the river becomes a barrier that could slow the entire advance. As the convoy approaches, Weber notices something odd. No traffic coming the other way. No civilians. No retreating German units. Just silence. The lead truck rolls onto the bridge. Halfway across, it stops. At first, the driver thinks the engine has failed. Then the windshield shatters. A sniper round. The shot echoes across the river, sharp and deliberate. Men jump from the trucks, instinctively seeking cover. But there is almost none. The bridge offers no protection. Steel beams and open gaps. Every movement is exposed. Weber drops to the wooden planks, heart racing. He tries to spot the source of the fire. Nothing. Then a machine gun opens up from the far bank. Short, controlled bursts. Not random. Not panicked. This is planned. On the eastern side of the river, a small German defensive unit has taken position. Likely a mix of regular infantry and engineers. Their orders are clear. Hold the crossing just long enough. Long enough to decide its fate. Because beneath the structure, wired carefully along key support points, are demolition charges. If triggered, the bridge will collapse into the river. The Americans know this tactic well. German forces have used it repeatedly during their retreat. Destroy the crossings. Slow the advance. Buy time. But here's the problem. The charges have not been detonated. Not yet. That means something is wrong. Or something is waiting. Weber hears his squad leaders shouting orders. Spread out. Return fire. Find the machine gun. But spreading out on a bridge is not simple. There is nowhere to go. A few soldiers crawl behind the wheels of the trucks. Others press against the steel beams, trying to make themselves as small as possible. Rifles crack in response. Shots aimed toward the far bank, toward muzzle flashes barely visible between trees and sandbag positions. The Americans have superior firepower. Semi-automatic rifles. A light machine gun in the rear truck. But they are stuck in the worst possible position. A narrow choke point. No cover. No clear view of the enemy. Weber loads another clip into his rifle. His hands shake, but his movements are automatic. Training takes over. He risks a glance over the edge. The river below moves slowly, dark and wide. If the bridge goes down, there is no easy crossing nearby. Not for vehicles. Not for heavy equipment. This is why the bridge matters. Back on the western bank, more American vehicles are arriving. Jeeps. Half-tracks. A small column forming behind the stalled convoy. They do not yet understand what is happening ahead. To them, it looks like a temporary delay. Then they hear the gunfire. Within minutes, the situation escalates. Officers begin organizing a response. A decision must be made quickly. Push forward and try to seize the bridge. Or pull back and avoid the risk of being caught in a demolition. Neither option is safe. On the far side, the German unit faces its own pressure. Their commander, likely a junior officer or senior non-commissioned officer, watches the American buildup through binoculars. He knows he cannot hold indefinitely. He does not need to. His mission is to delay and, if necessary, destroy the bridge. But timing is everything. Detonate too early, and American engineers might still find a way to repair or bypass. Wait too long, and the enemy could overwhelm the position and capture the bridge intact. Every second matters. Back on the bridge, Weber hears a new sound. A metallic clink from beneath the structure. He freezes. Another soldier hears it too. They exchange a look. No words needed. If the charges are being adjusted or prepared for detonation, it means the bridge could come down at any moment. And they are standing directly on top of it. The squad leader crawls toward Weber, shouting over the noise. They need to move. Either push across or fall back. Staying in place is no longer an option. But before the order is given, a new threat appears. From the tree line on the far bank, a second machine gun opens fire. This one angled slightly to cover the center of the bridge. A crossfire. Now every inch of the structure is under threat. Weber presses his face against the wood, trying to think. Move forward into heavier fire. Or turn back into a growing traffic jam of vehicles and men. Then he hears something else. An engine. Not American. From the far side, partially hidden behind the trees, the outline of a German armored vehicle becomes visible. Not a full tank, but something lighter. Possibly an armored car or a half-track. If it moves onto the bridge, the situation will change instantly. For Weber and the men around him, the bridge is no longer just dangerous. It is about to become impossible. The engine grows louder. At first, it is just a low vibration carried across the steel beams. Then the shape becomes clear. A German armored car edges forward from the trees, its front wheels turning toward the bridge. Private First Class Daniel Weber feels the shift immediately. Infantry fire is one thing. An armored vehicle is another. If it reaches the bridge, it can pin them in place or push straight through. And if demolition charges are triggered while it is on the span, the result will not matter. Everything will fall together. On the far bank, the German commander faces a narrowing window. American forces are building on the western side. Rifle fire is increasing. The first bursts from a light machine gun begin to suppress his forward positions. He cannot wait much longer. But he still does not give the signal. Instead, he commits the armored car. It rolls forward, slow and deliberate. Its machine gun scanning the length of the bridge. Not firing yet, just advancing. A test. Back on the bridge, Weber hears his squad leader make a decision. They are going forward. It sounds insane at first, but there is logic behind it. If they retreat, the bridge will almost certainly be destroyed. If they advance fast enough, they might disrupt the demolition before it is triggered. It is a race against a hidden switch. Weber nods without thinking. The order spreads from man to man. Move. Stay low. Keep firing. The first soldiers begin to crawl, then run in short bursts along the planks. Bullets strike the steel beams, sending sharp echoes down the length of the structure. The second machine gun on the far bank adjusts its aim, trying to track the movement. The crossfire tightens. But movement creates confusion. The German gunners must choose targets quickly. They cannot cover everything at once. Weber runs. 3 steps. Drop. 3 more steps. His breath comes fast, but his focus narrows. The far side of the bridge is no longer distant. It is a clear objective. Halfway across, he passes the disabled lead truck. The driver is slumped inside, unmoving. Weber does not look for long. There is no time. Behind him, more Americans are committing. The congestion on the western side breaks as officers push men forward instead of holding them back. The plan becomes clear. Overwhelm the position before the bridge is lost. On the far bank, the German commander sees the change. Through his binoculars, he watches American soldiers closing the distance. Faster than expected, he signals to the armored car. Advance. The vehicle lurches forward, its engine rising in pitch. Now the machine gun opens fire, sweeping the center of the bridge. Wood splinters. Steel rings. Weber drops flat as rounds pass overhead. This is the moment where everything could collapse. If the armored car reaches the midpoint, it can block the advance entirely. If the charges are triggered now, dozens of men will fall with the bridge. But something unexpected happens. From the rear of the American column, a new weapon comes into play. A bazooka team. They had been delayed by the congestion, unable to get a clear line of fire. Now, with the forward push creating space, they move into position at the edge of the western bank. One soldier kneels. The other shoulders the launcher. They do not have many chances. The distance is long. The target is partially obscured by the bridge structure. And the armored car is moving. Timing matters. The loader signals ready. The gunner steadies his aim, tracking the vehicle as it rolls onto the first section of the bridge. He fires. The rocket leaves a brief trail as it crosses the span. For a moment, it seems too high. Then it strikes. The explosion is not massive, but it is enough. The armored car jerks to one side, its front wheel damaged, its movement disrupted. Smoke begins to rise from the engine compartment. It does not fall off the bridge, but it stops, and that changes everything. Without forward momentum, the vehicle becomes a barrier for its own side. The German machine gun fire falters for a split second as the crew reacts. That hesitation is all the Americans need. Weber pushes forward again, now within range of the far bank. He can see the sandbags, the outlines of German soldiers, the cables running down toward the base of the bridge, the demolition lines. This is the real objective, not the armored car, not even the machine guns. The wires. If those lines remain intact, one signal could bring everything down. A small group of American soldiers breaks off from the main push, heading toward the side of the bridge where the cables disappear over the edge. Weber follows. Gunfire intensifies around them. The German defenders understand the threat now. Shots are no longer aimed randomly. They focus on the men moving toward the demolition points. One of them falls just short. Another reaches the edge and looks down. The charges are visible, secured to the structure, connected by thick cables. There is no time for careful work. He pulls out a knife. Weber covers him, firing toward the nearest German position. His shots are not precise, but they force the defenders to keep their heads down. The soldier at the edge cuts the first cable. Nothing happens. For a brief moment, uncertainty hangs in the air. Then he cuts the second. Still nothing. Either the charges are not armed yet, or the detonation system has been disrupted. On the far bank, the German commander realizes what is happening. His window has closed. If he waits any longer, the bridge will be captured intact. He reaches for the detonator and presses. For a split second, everyone on the bridge expects the same outcome. Collapse. But it does not come. The wires have been cut. The signal has nowhere to go. The charges remain silent. That is the turning point. With the demolition failed and the armored car disabled, the German position loses its purpose. Their mission was never to hold the bridge forever. It was to deny it. Now they cannot. American forces surge onto the far bank. The remaining defenders begin to withdraw, some falling back into the trees, others surrendering as they are cut off. Weber reaches solid ground and finally stops moving. He looks back at the bridge. Moments ago, it was a killing zone. Now it is open. Behind him, vehicles begin to roll forward again. The stalled convoy clears. Engineers move in to secure the structure and check for additional charges. Within hours, the crossing is fully operational. And that matters far beyond this single moment. Because every intact bridge over the Elbe speeds up the advance. It allows armored units, artillery, and supply lines to move without delay. If this bridge had been destroyed, the river would have slowed the entire sector. Temporary crossings would take time. Momentum would be lost. Instead, the advance continues, faster than the defenders planned. For Weber, the memory of the bridge does not fade. Not the gunfire or the fear, but the moment when nothing happened. When the charges failed. When a single decision to move forward changed the outcome. That is how a simple structure becomes one of the most dangerous places in Europe overnight. And how, in a matter of minutes, it can decide how fast a war moves toward its end.